Welcome to the Retirement Halftime Show. I am your host, Alexander Joyce, President, CEO of ReJoyce Financial. You would not play the second half of a game the same way you did the first, especially if you've got the lead. As it relates to retirement, and many of you have that lead, so what do? We maintain it. Maintain your lead in retirement. Stick around. We've got a great show for you. Almost 11 years now because we've been on this bull run. And so no one wants any sluggishness in their portfolio. What's very important is we all lean on each other and we all have the same common goal in mind, and that's to help any family that walks through our door.
So seeking the advice from a trusted advisor.
Sure.
You're going to have now a whole spectrum of investment options versus what you were.
The Retirement Halftime Show starts right now. Retirement Halftime Show. Maintain your lead in retirement. The Retirement Halftime Show. Maintain your lead in retirement.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I am your host, Alexander Joyce. And with us, of course, is co-host Alex Clark. This segment is interesting because we're talking about fixed income. And what I mean by that, what we mean by that, of course, is the nature of bonds. Now, a lot of people that we meet with say, you know what, I don't like bonds. We just want to make sure that in our overall portfolio, a piece of it is safe. Right? Or we don't want to be in equities 100% of our assets, which is prudent.
Yeah.
Right? But at the same time, the question becomes, is it bonds we're talking about, or is it the level of risk we're talking about in the overall market, right? So let me just kind of start off by saying the last decade has been a little bit different, right? Almost 11 years now because we've been on this bull run. And so no one wants any sluggishness in their portfolio. No one has felt like, you know what, or I shouldn't say no one. A lot of people have either felt like they've been sitting on the sidelines too long, or a lot of people have been kind of expecting, in a cash position, expecting the market to fall.
To go on sale, yeah.
To go on sale, if you would. And of course, those that have ridden this thing up now have said, well, good thing I wasn't in any type of fixed income position. So I guess what I want people to understand and be knowledgeable about is not just the risk that they're taking overall in an equity position, but how interest rates also play a role in your risk as well.
Yeah.
Right? Risk versus reward. The simplest way to say this is that there is an inverse relationship, as you know, between interest rates and bonds. Do you want to kind of add on to that a little bit?
Yeah, for a visual, it's kind of that teeter-totter effect, right? As the interest rates go down, the bond prices go up.
Okay.
And as interest rates rise, the bonds go down, right? And if you're looking at that historically, right, we've been in a really interesting position outside of what you said, the past 10 years in the bull market, but we've also seen interest rates coming down for that duration.
Yeah, we have. Yes, we have. And in fact, if you look back 40 years, it's been that interest rates have been declining.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until several years ago where interest rates hit rock bottom and we thought we were going to go negative. Right? That was the story then. And now we're in this very interesting interest rate environment where the Fed has raised rates a little bit. That's had an impact on equities, right? Yeah. Rates go up, equities go down. But so do bonds, as you said. Equities go down, bonds fall. Rates come down, bonds go up. Right. So I think that the tough thing to do is for people to understand what are the alternative ways to have fixed income in a portfolio.
Sure.
One thing that's caught storm is annuities in a conversation like this, because you have this fixed income type of position in an annuity, right? Certainly not a security in many fashions unless it's variable, but it has its place sometimes in an overall portfolio in a fixed income position.
Yeah.
One of the individuals that I'm a big fan of his work, Roger Ibbotson.
Yes.
Economist. And he actually created, which is called, for nationwide, I won't get into the story, but the Zebra Index. His work is phenomenal. I followed it for many years, have seen him speak. And one of the things that he said, being a philosopher in terms of studying bonds for decades, many, many years, most of his career, he said that an alternative fixed income position could be, again, not recommending this, right? But just kind of following this work, if you would, could be some type of index annuity, because you have the potential to hedge long-term inflation, right, with a floor of nothing. So you're not taking any interest rate risk, if you would, and your market risk is basically nothing as well. So I think that that's a conversation that should be had, or something that should be considered. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of other guys out there that have done a lot of research. Tom Hegna,
Sure.
Wade Pfau,
Sure.
Dr. Wade Pfau. I mean, they've all been looking at these bond replacements, if you will, because of the interest rate environment that we live in today.
Could go up. Goes up, bond values fall.
Absolutely.
And clients shouldn't be in a position where we're saying, well, we're still going to recommend bonds, or there should still be bonds in your portfolio, even though they'll fall as interest rates rise. They won't fall as low as equities.
To your point, right? I think the right thing to do is tell the story, educate the client, and let them make the informed decision on what they think's right for them.
There you have it. There you have it. So I think that the takeaway, most importantly, is understanding what your total risk tolerance looks like. If there should be fixed income in the portfolio, at what level of what portion should that be, in exploring alternative ways to provide that fixed income and security. And I think the best way to get that is to give us a call and understand and provide information to you so you can make an educated decision, as you said, Alex. Hey, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Retirement Halftime Show. Maintain your lead in retirement.
There's some things in life we can always get back. Money, that's one of them. But time, that can never be replaced. Your kids, grandkids, they don't care how big your house is or the type of car you drive. The time they spend with you, that's what matters most. Allow us to help take your financial concerns away so you can enjoy the more important things in life. Call us today at 317-903-9157. Schedule a no-obligation visit and rejoice in your retirement.
I'm Alexander Joyce, President, CEO of ReJoyce Financial. Getting the education you need for a successful retirement is key. That's why I've written my second book, ReJoyce in Your Retirement, Everything You Need to Know to Get Everything You Want. The book covers topics like identifying the income gaps, new ideas for investing, taxes and retirement, your legacy beyond dollars and cents, and much more. I've written this in an easy-to-understand format so that just about anyone can get the most out of it. To get a copy of ReJoyce in Your Retirement, Everything You Need to Know to Get Everything You Want, you can go to Amazon. But if you're one of the first callers, you can get a complimentary signed copy of this book just by scheduling a no-cost, no-obligation visit. This book is packed with information that will help you get the most out of your retirement years. If you want to know more about successful retirement strategies, then call now. Education is key. And let us help you rejoice in your retirement.
The Retirement Halftime Show. Maintain your lead in retirement.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I am your host, Alexander Joyce, and with me, Alex Clark, who is the co-host. And we are talking about the importance of having an advisor. Alex?
That is a great topic. We talk about that with our clients all the time. Why now? Because we see a lot of people that haven't worked with an advisor and, asking the question, why now? And there's something always that they have to say as to why now they've sought to work with the advisor.
I think you're right. And I think that one of the big questions we get, and we get this a lot when we're doing our events, it's at what point do we, in our retirement plan, or when we're thinking about planning for retirement, do we actually get that advisor? And one thing that we've done in the past, and we do a good job of that, and you do as well, is we show this concept of the accumulation phase. And we call it two distinct phases of a financial life. So I think the best thing to do is kind of visualize a mountain, if you will. And one thing that kind of paints the picture of this mountain is Mount Everest, right? There's a lot of adrenaline climbing that mountain. Not a lot of injuries or deaths occur when you're climbing that mountain. A lot of adrenaline and energy going up, and we kind of point to the top of that being the goal of retirement. Finally, you're there. And what's very interesting, if you think about that concept, is a lot of people in their first stage of that financial life, if you will, or the first distinct phase of that financial life, didn't have an advisor, right? And I've always said, well, your advisor was your 401k, where you're taught to maximize your 401k, or open up a Roth IRA, or look at other alternative ways to save for retirement. Save. Take some risk, if you will, within your comfort zone, if you would. But I think that the thing is, the second half, when you're kind of coming down a little bit.
The
descend, if you will,
Sure.
Mount Everest concept, that's when a lot of injury, that's when a lot of deaths happen. And we think about the same concept in terms of retirement, where you're climbing that mountain in the first distinct phase of your financial life, coming down is the second distinct phase, if you would. And we see a lot of injury and a lot of pain because those priorities completely change.
Yeah.
And that is when we say most people in general, at any level of their investment sophistication, if you would, that's when we think they need an advisor.
Yeah, guidance at that point is
Guidance.
I mean, that's key, right? I mean, like you said, everybody's just accumulated. They've done what they were supposed to do. They get the employer's match. They contribute. Now what?
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
that's why we think, particularly in the retirement or the second half of the game, per se, coming down, working with that advisor is crucial, because one wrong step, it could turn into disaster.
It could, right? And one slip, if you would, you come tumbling down. And I think that in terms of the priorities and coming down, if you would, as you just mentioned, is in terms of priorities, I think that time changes as well.
Sure.
Not just from a risk tolerance point of view, in terms of time that it takes to regain or come back from a loss, if you would, from a correction.
Yep.
But I think that even those that have been used to doing their own management, picking their own stocks, if you would, or doing their own trades.
Allocating in their 401k.
Exactly, allocating in their 401k. I think that what happens is, as you retire or get more involved in retirement, and I always hear a phrase that retirees say, I don't know how I had time to work. Right. And I think that when you start getting more involved in charity, or you start getting more involved in your family, or you start spending more time with your significant other, and maybe taking those trips or checking off the things on your bucket list, you may not have the time to pick those trades, or maybe she doesn't want to see you on the computer nonstop doing that.
Right.
So I think that those types of things play a part in when and how and why working with an advisor is important.
Sure, and things have drastically changed too, as we pointed out. You're no longer contributing to that 401k. So seeking the advice from a trusted advisor,
Sure.
you're going to have now a whole spectrum of investment options versus what you were, say, pigeonholed into inside the 401k.
Sure.
So being able to ask the questions,
true.
right? What duration, all of those things, risk, those are important things to know.
Those are.
And that's a reason we feel it's very important to seek help.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you. And hey, with our experience, right, combined 20 years of experience, I think that that's why we do this.
Sure.
Right, to give people our opinion. Right, I value your opinion, and I hope you feel the same way. Right.
Yeah.
But the fact is, the best is yet to come. If people want to get a hold of us, the best way to do it is just to pick up the phone and call, or go to our website. Reach out, right? Just take
no
that leap of faith.
obligation, consultation. We'd be more than happy to get together with you.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. The best is yet to come.
The Retirement Halftime Show. Maintain your lead in retirement.
I'm Alexander Joyce, President and CEO of ReJoyce Financial. If you're in retirement or near retirement, with all life's changes, it never hurts to get a second opinion. Managing expectations is the foundation of a prosperous relationship. Our goal is simple. We want to get to know you. So pick up the phone and make an appointment for a complimentary visit. There is no cost, no obligation. We simply wanted to get to know you and see if we can add value to your life in retirement. We can discuss topics like income planning, sequence of return risk, taxes, and estate planning, Social Security maximization, and much more. Let us help you develop strategies that can develop a successful retirement. If you want to know more about successful retirement strategies, then call now, schedule a visit, and let us help you rejoice in your retirement.
The Retirement Halftime Show. Maintain your lead in retirement.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I am your host, Alexander Joyce, and of course with us, as usual, Alex Clark, our co-host. And it seems like, Alex, when we do these shows, and I love doing it, right? And I think we get a lot of excitement from our viewers as well. But it seems like a lot of times I'm going off on a tangent, right? Sure. So we'll just tell us what's on your mind.
You know, kind of that thought process of what our process internally looks like, kind of what the expectations may be when a client comes through the front door. Okay. You know, what that may feel like, what that may look like all the way through the stages.
Yeah. I think that is important. First and foremost, I think that our viewers should know that our process is defined.
Yes.
Right? There is a very defined process, and that's one thing I love about what we've built internally. And I think that as the owner of the company, I think that I'm very blessed in that regard to have a great team around us.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Because I think that what's very important is we all lean on each other, and we all have the same common goal in mind, and that's to help any family that walks through our door. And I think that one thing we want to do is we want to portray that. And I think we've done a good job of that over the years. Of course, there's always room for progress. We're always looking for constructive criticism.
Sure.
And I don't think we get enough of that.
Yeah.
But I think that what's most important for our viewers to know, or anybody thinking about reaching out to us, is that our process is very defined. It starts with getting to know somebody. Right? It starts with them. You and I have been working together for a long time. I mean, you've been doing this for over a decade, as have I. But the thing is, what we want our families to know when they pay us a visit is that the last thing in our mind is about how much money you have, right? Because that and you and I have sat in our conference room, we've talked about this, we've looked at documents, and the last thing that we talk about, is the money.
Yep.
Isn't that interesting?
Yep.
And because what we want to know is what their goals are, right? What are the things? What are they hoping to achieve? What's in it for them? Right? How can we add value to that family's life in any state, whether that's buying that RV or taking their kids to Disney, right? Or going out to the Outer Banks with their grandkids, or paying off their home, or being debt free, or whatever that goal is.
Sure.
Right? That's inside of them. That's what's important to us.
Yeah.
And making sure they understand that we're not there to judge them. Right? This is our firm is completely judge-free, has nothing to do with the dollars and cents. Of course, that matters, but when that matters, we'll make sure we put the plan in place with that in mind when that point comes.
Yeah, we're really just a conduit, right?
Sure.
They come to us, tell us this is where they're trying to go. These are their goals, dreams, wishes, wants, desires, and we'll go through a process, getting to know each other. And like I said, just a conduit to see if we can help them get to where they're trying to go.
Yeah.
And having that defined process, I mean, it helps with the expectations as to knowing what you guys are going to help me with, letting us know what you want to accomplish. So that's exactly really
right.
important.
That's exactly right. And I think that it's a lot of people, a lot of individuals. They ask us, well, what is your ideal client, or who are you helping? And of course, they can log into our website and they can see kind of there's a section, if you will, that says our clients. They can kind of walk through that. But I think that you're right, and I think that is a perfect terminology, is we are a conduit. I've always said, and I stress, if we can add value, we can do business.
Sure.
Right? And I think that's what most people need to understand, is if we can add value, we can do business.
And that common theme, around the office, hey, we understand we're not going to be the right solution for everybody.
Can't help everybody.
But being candid with one another through the process, I mean, that's huge, right? Because if they don't know what to expect from us, we don't know what to expect for them or where they're trying to go.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a good fit.
And that's the same thing we do on this show as well, right? Because our viewers, a lot of them, they know us. A lot of them don't. And to make any recommendations on a show like this, where we're explaining what our process is, and we're trying to give people peace of mind, and we're trying to encourage people to get the advice and education they need, to make any recommendations on a show like this would be financial malpractice.
Yeah.
And so I think that the first steps obviously would be reach out to us, right? The first steps would be
Jump on the website, pick up the phone, give us a shout.
that's it. A great topic, Alex. And viewers, if you have any questions, reach out to us. Go to our website, pick up the phone, give us a shout.
The Retirement Halftime Show. Maintain your lead in retirement.
I'm Alexander Joyce, President and CEO of ReJoyce Financial. If you're in retirement or near retirement, with all life's changes, it never hurts to get a second opinion. Managing expectations is the foundation of a prosperous relationship. Our goal is simple. We want to get to know you. So pick up the phone and make an appointment for a complimentary visit. There is no cost, no obligation. We simply want to get to know you and see if we can add value to your life in retirement. We can discuss topics like income planning, sequence of return risk, taxes, and estate planning, Social Security maximization, and much more. Let us help you develop strategies that can develop a successful retirement. If you want to know more about successful retirement strategies, then call now, schedule a visit, and let us help you rejoice in your retirement.
The Retirement Halftime Show. Maintain your lead in retirement.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, and I am your host, Alexander Joyce, and I am with Alex Clark. And Alex, we always like to take questions from our viewers, okay? We think it's extremely important. We always want more questions. We'll do our best to get your question answered. So what do we want to start with, Alex?
Let's start with Mike from Fishers, and he has a question. Do I still need life insurance?
Sure, Mike from Fishers. We love having the life insurance conversation, okay? It is often a misconception that the older I get, the less life insurance I get. Now, it is certainly factual that, Mike, if you are a breadwinner within your family and you've got children, whether they're teenagers or whether they're younger children, and if you are the breadwinner and you've got a mortgage and you've got automobiles and you've got college to pay for, even if it's creeping up or not creeping up, it is very important to have life insurance if your assets aren't mature enough, if you will, to allow your family to maintain, sustain their style of living without your existence. That would be difficult. We would feel the same way. I'd feel the same way. Any person, male, female, should take on the responsibility of making sure not just leaving a legacy, but allowing your family to maintain sustain their style of living. That's significant. The other part is understanding the differences between life insurance, right, Mike? So there's term insurance, which you're renting the insurance, as we like to call it. It's very inexpensive. You're buying a pool of money. You're buying death benefit. And then there's universal life and what's called index universal life for those that are looking at life insurance, depending on your age, of course, looking at life insurance more of a savings vehicle, an alternative way to pool money, an alternative way to have tax-free money, an alternative way to save assets, an alternative way to have a tax-free income outside of a Roth IRA. So depending on not just your risk tolerance, not just your debt load, not just your age, but depending on your entire situation, looking at it holistically, that would give us a better definition of is life insurance for you, and if so, what type of life insurance would fit within your overall portfolio.
The next question comes from Ron in Greenfield, Alex, and he wants to know, how can I determine if I can retire?
Sure, Ron. That is a great question. And, retiring is a goal that everybody has. And everybody really has the same question. We've got that question over and over. Can I retire? And I think, Ron, that it's larger than how much money you have. right? So to us, that's probably the secondary factor. What's probably most important to us from a planning perspective, outside of the dollars and cents behind it, of course, that makes the world of difference in terms of longevity and making sure that you never outlive your money, which is our responsibility as your advisor. We want to know more about your risk tolerance to get there. Okay, we want to know more about your goals. For all we know, your number one goal in retirement is to take your 401k, pay off your house, buy an RV, and hit the road, right? So if that's your plan in retirement and you've got X amount of dollars, sometimes the hardest thing we can tell a client is you can't do it. But I hope that every single person viewing this can understand where we come from in terms of honesty. That's what you want from us. Even if the answer is no, you'll want to make sure that you can rely on us to continuously give you the advice that you deserve and that you need in your retirement, okay? So risk tolerance is greater than maximizing growth on a scale of 1 to 10. How important is that to you? We need to make sure that if we asked you, Ron, if you lost 50% in the market, understanding that you need 100% just to break even, how would it make you feel if you lost 20% of your hard-earned money? Those are the types of questions that we need to kind of pull out of individuals to get a better understanding of their overall risk tolerance, knowing that taxes play a part, knowing that estate planning plays a part, knowing that having a defined direction in retirement makes the world of a difference. And that to us is called a ReJoyce roadmap. And that's what we want to supply or give to every person viewing this. And keep those questions coming.
Absolutely. We love hearing from the viewers, Alex.
Absolutely. If you've got questions, if you've got something in your retirement that's bothering you or keeping you up at night, don't hesitate to pick up the phone. Let's get those questions answered. Keep those questions coming. Stay tuned. The best is yet to come.
The Retirement Halftime Show. Maintain your lead in retirement.
I'm Alexander Joyce, President, CEO of ReJoyce Financial. Getting the education you need for a successful retirement is key. That's why I've written my second book, ReJoyce in Your Retirement, Everything You Need to Know to Get Everything You Want. The book covers topics like identifying the income gaps, new ideas for investing, taxes and retirement, your legacy beyond dollars and cents, and much more. I've written this in an easy to understand format so that just about anyone can get the most out of it. To get a copy of ReJoyce in Your Retirement, Everything You Need to Know to Get Everything You Want, you can go to Amazon. But if you're one of the first callers, you can get a complimentary signed copy of this book just by scheduling a no-cost, no-obligation visit. This book is packed with information that will help you get the most out of your retirement years. If you want to know more about successful retirement strategies, then call now. Education is key. And let us help you rejoice in your retirement.
The Retirement Halftime Show. Maintain your lead in retirement.
Thank you so much for watching today's Retirement Halftime Show. If you've got any questions about today's show, give us a call, go to our website, and remember, maintain your lead in retirement. We'll see you next time.